Hi, my name's Natsumi, and I'm half Sri Lankan, half Japanese, and I was born in Sri Lanka. I mainly grew up in Singapore and Hong Kong, so those are the two places that I would call home. I've been a reader since as long as I can remember, so I have quite an extensive book collection at home, and I feel like they were my best friends. Being an only child, they were sort of a world and people that I could escape to. I started off with the dream of being a lawyer. It was just something that I've always wanted to do. But eventually got to a point where I realized that idea I had about law and the reality of law, they didn't coincide at all. So we had to break up. It was painful. I'm 100% a tree hugger. I am that sort of person that would pick an animal over a person in any situation. So I think that's definitely one of the most important things to me. Scott is a mining engineer, so he's on an 8-day work, 6-day off rotation. First it was really hard because there were things like opening jars that I had to do on my own and getting rid of bugs and spiders. But now I think it's been good because I see it as sort of a stepping stone to me becoming more independent. So we're at the Port River and we're just about 10 minutes away from Adelaide and we're going to go kayaking with dolphins today.
All right, anyone paddled a double kayak before? Not a hard job. It takes a little bit of coordination, a bit of teamwork. First thing you want to decide is, of course, your favourite colour of boat. You want to feel good out there.
I think I'm most nervous about being in a kayak. I've never been in one and they just look so precarious. Does that look all right?
Feet on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm supposed to sit like this?
Because you're not steering at the front, so
Yeah.
that's crucial. So, you know,
That's
as long as
all
you're
right.
comfortable, that's okay.
Yep. I'm a bit worried about falling over, possibly.
Yeah, she's a bit wobbly on the ramp, but once you're on the water, you'll be fine.
That's all right. It would be fun going on a tour group. Make me feel more at ease, I think, just because there'll be other people who hopefully haven't done this before. Oh my God, so weird.
All right, guys, well, yeah, you don't get conditions down here much better than this, where the wind drops out completely and it's just spot on, so it should be beautiful. So what we'll do in a minute is head straight ahead here, and this will take us around the back of the island to the ship's graveyard.
Recently, I've just been completely lazy. I've been more of an indoors person, so I'm hoping that by the end of today, I'll feel more motivated. What does it take to actually flip one of these over?
Almost impossible to tip over these kayaks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, considering the nature of the environment, being
Yeah.
nice and sheltered, and you can see how long and big and flat and stable these boats are.
Yeah.
Very, very, very unlikely.
They're so stable. I expected them to wobble a lot more, but...
I can wobble them if you like.
Oh, okay. That's all right. The thing that probably stopped me from doing this sort of thing is, one, lack of knowledge. I had no idea this existed, and I think also I was quite scared. So I needed a little nudge to be able to get out here today, but I'm so glad I did it. So what's the story behind the ship's graveyard? Is it a ship that came here by accident, or...?
Yeah, no, so there's about 26 wrecks in the ship's graveyard. And they call it a
Okay.
ship's graveyard because all the wrecks have been dumped there. They haven't just hit,
okay.
they haven't
So
just
they're
hit the rocks
purposely-
and sunk.
Yeah.
They've been left there on purpose.
All right.
The environmental conscience wasn't exactly something that existed really back then. So when this was a full-blown working port, everything was just dumped in the river.
When we went to the ship's graveyard, I wasn't sure what to expect. That looks so amazing.
Yeah, she's a nice big structure.
So interesting how they make it. When I did see, I think, the second ship, which was a wooden ship, it was so beautiful. I just couldn't believe it. And the fact that mangroves has started to grow in the middle of it, it looks pretty unreal when you see one up close. Ooh. Starting to get blisters, I think.
On your hands?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just around the
try
thumb
not to
area.
grip the paddle so tight.
Yeah.
Really
Guess I'm
don't
just like holding onto it for dear life.
Yeah.
I think what I enjoyed the most about it was physically challenging and there was a lot to look at along the way. So it made it a lot easier, I think, surviving out there for 3 hours. They went by so quick, I didn't even notice we were out there for so long.
Ooh. There we go, right in front. Beautiful. So they've got at least a half a dozen down here.
I was definitely surprised the dolphins were so comfortable with us that they could fish around us, and they even did a few sort of tail slaps, I think it was, to get the fish out of the water. And it was just neat to see how they were at ease with people being around them.
Maybe a bit of a splash. Pretty hungry critters. They eat about 12 kilo of fish a day, they reckon. And they say your average adult human eats about 2 kilo of food, aside from Christmas. Hence they love it in here because it's a big fish breeding area.
I thought that, you know, to see dolphins, you'd have to go quite far out into the ocean, but to be able to see them up close and not have to go out on a big boat, that's really special.
Yeah, sometimes they're in a curious mood and sometimes they don't. They want to be left alone. Just hanging about. So that's how they rest, because they need to breathe out of their blowholes. So they can't completely go to sleep, otherwise they drown.
It was amazing. I'm quite surprised that I survived today. I was expecting myself to give up after 5 minutes. I think I might have mastered the technique of paddling.
So is there any or much kayaking on the coast of Sri Lanka?
I do know that we have some beaches that are really popular for surfing. So I'm not really too sure. I'm not that much of an outdoorsy person, unfortunately, but
Right.
it'd be worth it to check when I go home, actually.
Oh, if you have these experiences,
Yeah, I'll
things
just
might
sort of
change.
like crave it.
Yeah. So welcome to the Little Amazon jungle. So what we'll do in a minute is go and explore, and it'll just be a case of taking it nice and easy, one boat at a time, single file.
What I loved about the mangroves, I think, was because it was a bit of a high tide, we sort of had to duck a little and it was a bit of an obstacle course. I think it was just amazing.
What you will find as we paddle through here is little fish, birds in there, and little mud crabs, which are on the banks.
Seeing the mangroves and how they've sort of sprung up and done so well in this area is just amazing. It's almost as amazing as dolphins or shipwrecks. People wouldn't think that. You feel like you have the whole world in front of you when you're in a kayak.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's nice and peaceful.
Don't really want to go back now. For me, today, I think the best part was just knowing how far I could push myself and be able to see so much along the way. It sort of felt like a reward to sort of like be able to push myself and then see all these wonderful things. It's like if I push myself a little bit further in all things, I feel like I'll get a lot of rewards from it.